Hey guys, Boris Lots from BK Forex. Welcome to our weekly Forex Tech Notes for 7106. The focus next week, obviously, I think is going to be on dollar yen and the possible retake of 100. As always, trading Forex on margin carries a high level risk and obviously good for investors. So I ask you to read this disclaimer very carefully and understand that those you should be aware of all those associated with trading and margin and seek advice from an independent financial advisor if you have any questions. Well, let's take a look at the weekly charts. A lot of price action next week. We have all of the QUS data that's probably going to twist or turn the price action one way or the other. I'm looking at the euro right now, but let's just start with the dollar yen because that was the big mover. Dollar yen took the 50, came back out, but basically took 99, 100 with relative force. It's not most bullish sign that it didn't close on the highs, but the fact that we were able to close above 99 still keeps the very nice breakout move intact. However, as you can see on the chart, this whole 99-100 corridor was very, very stiff resistance prior until we finally broke through to the highs of the 103.50s. Then we came right back down and it kind of sliced right through the 100 level. There was one area of support where it had a bounce and then it sliced right back through and collapsed completely. So in essence, we're actually basically making essentially a little bit of a higher low here on a basing pattern that could re-challenge the longer term highs that we set at the beginning of May. This battle over here between 99 and 100, the beginning of the week is likely going to be tough. It may be a situation where they'll try to break the 100 before the big U.S. data, but I think you're really going to need the U.S. data to really push it through and give the market confidence, assuming the U.S. data is positive to push it through. On the other hand, you could essentially have, if it doesn't break the 100, a very nasty little rejection and effectively a formation of almost a head and shoulders pattern in one way that could then take us right back towards a retest of 95. So this whole 99, 100, very, very critical level. I would say that if it broke 100, let's say around 130, 135, you would have a lot of conviction that the pair could go higher. If it failed here and we started to come back down below 98s, then it would really look like we have to get another failure here in this 99-100 corridor. So definitely a key juncture for dollar yen, and definitely something to be keeping an eye on all week long. For euro dollar, 30 has been the hold for the last 3 or 4 days, but Friday's action very negative technically. Look at this complete flame out. We tested 30 once and then just came right back, ended on the lows. And it's really going to be a very, very interesting front of the week where we'll see if the bears and the bulls are going to be able to put together a big battle plan underneath this 30, 100, 29.50. 29.50 is very, very key support. Break it at 29.50, which is somewhere around here, really invites basically a retest of the swing lows that happened in mid-May. So we'll have to be watching this very, very carefully. It would be very surprising, given this really negative formation, that if you just simply came right back, retook the 30 once, and then moved on higher. If that were to happen, if we had just an engulfing pattern where we retook the 30 once without even going to the downside, that would actually be quite bullish. But given the flame out on Friday, given the fact there was so much resistance in the 3100, it's going to be a battle here. And if the shorts can push this through to 29.50, it will really open up an avalanche and we move all the way to the downside. We have the ECB meeting this week. That could be very interesting because if you have a negative sentiment in the euro and Draghi does not come up with any kind of positive rhetoric, that could be the kind of a trigger that could push us for a retest of the lows. So we'll have to see how that plays out, but euro definitely also setting up in a very interesting fashion. Cable is a little bit healthier. It's got twisted all the way down to 5,200. This is really sort of a fume trading on Thursday's GDP number that was surprisingly weak. I think the key thing with cable is going to be if we can stabilize here, that would actually form a higher low and provide some sort of support. But for now, the 53-54 corridor from which it fell and which was initially the support is really going to be the big resistance for cable at the beginning of the week. And Aussie continues to be an absolute disaster for anybody trying to buy the bottom here, as 91.50 was tested again and again, and it just got battered. We came right back to the lows here. And it's going to be interesting to see because I think if we can press through the 91s, then the temptation sort of test the 90 support is going to be massive. Now, on a longer term scale, we have to look at this. We're breaking this is on a weekly scale. We're breaking every single support level we've had. Try to see if we can. Trying to see. Last time we were in the 90s. Last time we were in the 90s was all the way out in 210. But the pair didn't really spend much time below 90, right? It was basically 88, 90. We had a big dip, obviously, to the 80s. They came back up, and this 88, 90 corridor, which we initially broke out. So I do think that if we do come down to the 90s, this 88, 90 will provide a modicum of support for the pair. But for now, the near-term trade, especially if we can accelerate to the downside, and if you have some dollar strength as the week begins, really opens up 90 as a key target for downside. This also, by the way, shows that the Euro Aussie, which had a really nice recovery. Let me just pull the Euro Aussie up for a second. Euro Aussie had a big correction here. We broke down through the 140s and came right back up. And now Euro Aussie may be on its way towards a double top test here around the 144s. So weakness in the Aussie and a moderate amount of strength. That is, if the euro just simply doesn't budge this 29.50 level, could produce another push up towards the 44 retest in the Euro Aussie. But I do think actually, as you kind of look at the Euro Aussie, there's after a massive move up, what you're seeing is the first signs of congestion, the first signs of a correction, and perhaps a more interesting way to trade Aussie recovery would be through the Euro Aussie cross, simply in the sense that you're seeing some congestion, you're seeing a momentum definitely stall here. Only if you take out the 45s would you say that the resumption of the uptrend really continues, and which would really give you some degree of confidence that if you started to lay out shorts around here in this zone against this 45 risk, you may have a chance for a possible turn and a correction all the way through the 140s and obviously maybe even to 135s. Another way to kind of trade this, if you didn't want to try to guess the top, is to simply wait for yet another break of the 140 to the downside. Typically, when you have these big figures, and the first break that happens is usually the false break, and the second break tends to be a more corrective break, just like in dollar yen, when the first break of 100 we had a rebound back up above 100, and then the second break of 100 was much more significant, took us all the way down to 95. So a more intelligent way on a momentum base, maybe just simply wait and see if your Aussie breaks down below 140, and that would give you the opportunity to perhaps catch this retrace move in the pair. So I think that's kind of how the week shapes up. A lot of very interesting scenarios, not only on the majors but on the crosses as well. With dollar yen, the primary candidate here towards the 100, with the euro trying to see if it can hold the 30s, and with the Aussie trying to see if it can hold above this 90 level as the weakest of the bunch continues. Wishing you guys the best of luck and the best of trading. This is Boris Schlossberg, over and out.